Hey everybody, welcome. I felt just like talking for a while, and if I happen to say something that I don't really feel like sharing with all of you, I figure I can just edit it out. But I wanted to, as you can see, I'm grooming myself. I was so eager to start talking with somebody. I didn't even check to see, how well groomed. But fortunately, I think I look pretty presentable. I just got back from today. A lot has happened this week, and a lot has happened last week. I've been working two jobs. If you've been watching my channel, a morning job and an evening job. I just signed with a I signed with a temp agency, and I was able to garner a 9 to 5 job, essentially Monday through Friday. It's $18 an hour, which is better, certainly better than what I've been earning so far, because just the way the hours were cut and fluctuating this and that, so forth. So I just came back. I start on Tuesday, and I just got back from the bank because yesterday was my birthday, and I got two checks, and so I wanted to cash them in as soon as possible because I have a little bit of spring cleaning. By the way, I have a little bit of spring cleaning I'll get to in a moment that ties in with what I'm about to say. Well, I need a haircut. That's not part of the spring cleaning. um, I I got a green screen. I ordered a green screen with some money, figuring I will cash these two checks in to compensate for the green screen and a few other things that I ordered online. But I had enough money in the bank, obviously, to afford those things while the checks clear and so forth. So anyway, I was at the bank and I started chatting, and I was talking about uh, opportunities they may have. I just openly asked. I feel like this friend of mine, I have a friend who's about a generation older than I am, and he tends to do this. He tends to be more open when he talks. He'll go into a company. He has a daughter who's about 30 something, and she and I have remarked kind of comically about it, I guess, albeit behind his back, but his tendency to go up and start chatting with women, and I guess guys inherently are like that. I suppose women are inherently like that about guys. But anyway, all right. So he has this tendency to just start chatting, and he feels comfortable and he feels relaxed enough, and that's good. That's a good trait for people, to feel comfortable to just start chatting with other people, and you never know what that could lead to. So I felt that sense of you never know where it's going to go when I was at my bank and cashing the checks, and there were two nice tellers, both women for whatever it's worth, and I just find it more comfortable chatting with women than with men. And one of them said, "Oh, well, this bank or branch is rated as one of the best in the area amongst the branches, something like that." Oh, that's nice. So I started thinking, well, I don't remember if this job that I took is temp to hire or just a temporary position. I don't know how long it'll last. And admittedly, I don't want to seem like I'm like jumping jobs, but I feel like I deserve a higher paying job. And this ties in with, in fact, one of those videos that I've made way back titled High School Reunion, something like that. It's about a high school reunion, my high school reunion, my 30th high school reunion coming up next year, 2024. I have an impression, just based on Facebook and social media, that when I go in, they'll all be married, they'll have kids, they'll have houses and families and homes, and primarily they'll have actual careers, whereas I've spent quite a bit of time in part-time positions and short-term positions, not earning that much money, even though I deserve it. Like I have 2 degrees, 2 bachelor's degrees from a good university. I think it's, I don't know, I would hazard a guess that it's nationally known university. I mean, there have been a few famous people who have come out of that university. I'd say it's pretty well known. 2 degrees, political science and television, radio, film, and I haven't been able to really make careers out of either one of them. They're just credentials that I've graduated with bachelor's degrees. Um, I've thought for a long while I could make a good career in radio, just being a talk show host. I wanted to talk about this too. There are a number of things I wanted to talk about, and this is my rambling. This is my pre-chapter to what I really wanted to talk about in this video. That'll come later, but I'll divide it up into chapters. So if you want to skip ahead, I'll point up as a signal from myself to insert the time when the new chapter begins. Or you can just go look in the description and there should be chapter markers in there. You can just click whatever. I felt that I'm a good speaker and I have a lot to say, and being a radio talk show host would tie in with that bachelor's degree, television, radio, film. I grew up in around high school age. I enjoyed listening to talk radio. I liked the Gil Gross show. I liked especially Art Bell on his show Coast to Coast AM. He talked about the paranormal, and Gil Gross would interview. Well, they both interviewed guests, but Gil Gross talked about mainly politics and things of national interest, and it wasn't like this dominant conservative talk radio all the time where they're just preaching to the choir. They're preaching to their audience the same Republican talking points over and over and over. No. When I was listening to talk radio in around 97, 96, well, no, it would have been before that because I was in high school. So it would have been, wow, a whole decade, more than a decade. It would have been like 91, 92, maybe some. More like 90, 92, 93, all the way through. And I remember 97 is when I discovered Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. And I was still listening 1998, 99. I don't remember if there was anything past that or whether they changed. I think about that time they may have changed. The radio station, I would listen to these nationally syndicated shows. Perhaps it changed their format, but that's a good chunk of a decade. I was listening to talk radio, and I enjoyed it. I just enjoy genuinely talking with people. Let me rephrase that. I genuinely enjoy talking with people. I enjoy talking about topics. Like, for example, this morning I didn't have much to do. I was doing some menial task, and I was sitting next to a coworker who enjoyed listening to me talk. She just let me talk, and sometimes she responded, but I just like talking about Star Trek, for example. So I was talking about some of the episodes of the original series, and I was talking about how their first motion picture came into being and changes that they had in the second movie and various things. I could pick a topic really and just start talking, and that's a primary reason why I created this YouTube channel. I like sharing ideas. Okay, so going back to the bank, I was just chatting and I got some good information. I pride myself on my skill at sounding friendly. I am friendly and I am sincere when I chat, but I also enjoy the fact that I'm observant and I think I have good poise and I can catch what people say and remember it for later. So as I was just chatting, I asked key questions. What was the interview process like? Uh, how long did it take until an interview? They got interviews. What's the pay like? What is the job chances are I would get if I applied? Where can I apply? I can apply online and so forth. Questions like that. And I mentioned I would be making $18 at this new job, and how does that compare? And it seemed nice what I heard. There weren't specifics. Of course, it depends on what job you get, but they were smiling as if it would be good pay. When I mentioned the $18, it would be perhaps comparable or even better than that. So I don't want to give an impression like I'm job hopping, but as I started saying earlier, I feel I do deserve it because I just turned 48 yesterday, and I want to go into this high school reunion with some kind of title or status. It's not just about status, but it's more like pride and showing that I'm capable of having a good job. That's very important to me, that I can demonstrate and that other people know that I'm capable, I'm smart, I'm with it, I'm sharp, I have a sharp memory, I go above and beyond, and I'm a very capable worker, and I'm diligent, I show up every day. I should have a job that's commensurate with that and pay that's commensurate with that, which would then lead to a better life for myself, like a house. And with the house comes living in a better area, and living in a better area, I could choose perhaps where I live, which would be within more of a Jewish community, which would mean that the chances of me finding a Jewish girlfriend would be higher, and the chances of me marrying her and then having a child, and it all connects together. And I just haven't been, in this 48 years, I just haven't been able to get on that path. I think because of situations and hurdles that I didn't really have control over. And I feel like I've been trying for a long time to overcome those hurdles. And when I go to the high school reunion, I hope that they recognize that and they take that into account. I've been communicating with on Facebook Messenger with one of our classmates, and she said, essentially, in so many words, don't worry, a number of people are living alone. Not everybody has all that I was talking about. A number of people have been divorced and are living alone or sad or something. I guess it just doesn't reflect on Facebook. They only show their positive moments on Facebook, and I tend to be realistic, and I'm honest and open, and I show whatever's on my mind, the good and the bad. Well, nuts. You see, I tried to do something, and I demonstrated, as a result, I demonstrated something that I don't do, and as a result, the camera shut off, and I had camera issues with my computer. I picked up my chair to show you how small this area is, and this room is I film in, and there's good reason why I don't do that. There are wires intermingled on the rug here, top of the rug here on the floor, and they're very close to my chair. And I accidentally, I guess, pulled the plug out of my computer while I'm recording. But anyway, so I guess I lost everything there. But what I was saying was, I want to get to now to YouTube house cleaning, and I want to talk about the green screen that I bought. It the one that I was considering. If you can see, I'll risk another power outage a little bit. I think I'm safe. The one that I was considering for a while was just a green oval that fit around here. But the one that I wound up getting was, I think, a bit cheaper than that, and it was wider. Now, this one was advertised as a portable one, portable green screen. Why do I need a green screen? Simple fact is that I think, frankly, I think I'm not getting viewership numbers that I want to be getting with this YouTube channel. And I understand my YouTube channel is young, but I've seen other YouTubers and their numbers seem way higher. And I'm working on that. I made a good amount of progress. I changed my banner. I officially changed the title of the YouTube channel from Introspection with Jeff to Visionary Visions. Visionary Ventures. Wait, let me say that again. Yeah, Visionary Ventures. And now there are 2 playlists. There's going to be a 3rd playlist. The one playlist is Introspection. It's still this kind of stuff that I'm doing now, or I will be doing later on in this video soon, talking about my life experiences and sharing them in the hopes that they're universal and you can learn something from them too. And as a way of expressing my insights on life and various things, and sharing some theoretical concepts, because I enjoy just theories about how I'd say the universe is put together. That seems very vague. Just the way things are, how the Bible is, the Jewish Bible is organized, like the Big Bang, theories about creation itself, theories about God, theories about how our minds work, a lot of them, theories about how the mind works, just theories in general. I love that stuff, and that's like the spice of life. So, all right, back to the green screen. I want to show you more than just this wall, and the rest of my apartment doesn't look all that fascinating. In fact, some of it, I mean, it's not like a jungle, but you know, it's a bachelor man's apartment. So there's a mattress on the floor. There's I don't want to twist this around for 2 reasons. One, it just is unseemly, and 2, I don't want to risk talking that long and having the power go out again. So, but anyway, so I'm sitting in a corner here, and there's a window here with shade, with blinds, and there's a windowsill, and my teleprompter is over here, and that I don't use. Maybe I will use in the future. And over here, there's this wall, and further down the wall, there's a chair, a small wooden chair. It's not like a gargantuan chair. It's a small chair with a TV set, a flat screen TV set. I think it's an LG. I used to have a Bravia, and that lasted for a long while, but didn't seem to work, I think. And then I put it away, and I got this one. This one that I use now happens to be the one that I got for my mom, because she was, I really need a haircut. She was bedbound. We were living in another place. It was a house, but it was an apartment setup. We were living there. There's some special term. It was essentially an apartment, but physically it was a house. And I had the upstairs floor. She had the downstairs floor, and her mobility had decreased. She was 80, essentially around 80 something. She died at 85 and a half, but she was about in her early 80s when she tripped. It was January. Weird things have happened in that period of time for several years. January 1st, around that time, just seemed a weird thing. there was snow on the ground. It was icy, and she was very mobile up until that point. She remained a little bit mobile after that point. She would still walk around the neighborhood, just walking in general, going to the store and going to the mailbox and so forth. And in order not to, okay, there's a road. I mean, there's a smaller street between two between two primary streets. There's a little street in between, like an H, and there was a grate next to a sidewalk, and she, as I recall, she didn't want to walk on the slippery, icy sidewalk, so she walked in the street, like literally in the street, but right next to the edge of the sidewalk. And there was a grating there, and she tripped and fell on the grating. And fortunately, somebody stopped and helped her and so forth. And she was in the hospital for a month. And I think it was like January 2nd or 3rd or something. So I had a month to myself. And so anyway, she got out of the hospital and she was in recuperation, but she wasn't as mobile. And unfortunately, her neck, she couldn't keep her neck. After a while, she just woke up. She discovered that she couldn't prop her neck all the way up, so she was kind of like this for the rest of her life. And that was only for a few years. That was 2014, something like that. And then we had to move in January 2015. Again, it's like right around New Year's Day. It's weird. And then January 2015, we moved into the new place I was talking about, the upstairs and the downstairs. So she wasn't as mobile, but I encouraged her to keep moving around. And so she was still, even in that state, at 85, she was still going to the mailbox. Like walking down the street, or walking in the village to get her mail and go to the post office. What I mean by get her mail, is go to the post office or deliver a letter in the mail box somewhere in town. And she was still moving around, and that I still think that was healthy for her. I think she would not have had as healthy a life at that advanced age if she hadn't kept mobile, and I think it helped her keep her mind alert. I like to think so. Maybe you could comment down below if you would have done or have done the same, or wished you had done the same with your mom or dad or aged parent, elderly parent. So anyway, I went to one of those pawn shops, and for a cheap price, I got a nice flat screen so that she wouldn't be stuck watching this projection TV. And so fortunately, I did that not only for her sake, but now for my sake, because my Bravia, for whatever reason, I can't remember at the moment, I don't think it cracked. I think for whatever reason, it just won't work, whatever. So it's in the other room, and I still have this one that I pulled out, and I'm watching this. It still has for whatever reason, it has like 3 thin lines across. It's not pixelated, it's just something with the display. You can see the image fine. It just has these 3, and I barely even notice it. It just has 3 very thin lines. I think the 3rd line came when it fell, so it fell like down. I mean, it tipped over. It didn't really fall from a tall distance. It just tipped over. I was holding it in a certain way, and it just gained that 3rd line, whatever reason. But TVs are becoming cheaper and cheaper. I figure I can get a better TV soon anyway, once I have good money and I have a good job and so forth, and the pay and all that. So anyway, back to my cramped quarters here. There's a mattress on the ground. It's I forget exactly what it's it's about about from here to about here. That's the thickness of the mattress, and I have a nice bed. And then I've got my wigs, got my chair there, another chair down, or something, or some boxes. See, it's very cheap looking. Some boxes over there, and on top of one of the boxes, I've got a nice wig stand that juts out and has several different wigs, and I do cosplay. And if you've seen my earlier videos, you may have noticed, no doubt noticed, when I go on FOM or cross dress, female impersonate, I want to do really well with it, and I'm still improving on that. So there are the wigs there, and then the closet, I've got clothing, and then go over this side, I've got several plastic, what do you call it? Plastic bins, the latches on tubs, I think, tubs, essentially. It's like large Tupperware. It's like, like this. You flip open the latches on either side, the lid comes off, and then you have this rectangular plastic curved enclosure, and I keep my DVDs in there. I've got a huge library of DVDs, and then I've got, behind that, I've got a pile, and they're stacked up. That's what's nice. And behind that, I've got a pile of just papers and letters, and frankly, probably more letters and brochures than I really need, but it's easier just to put a letter over if it's bulk mail or just a magazine, like a free magazine that gets in the mail, like an order magazine, like whatever. It's easier just to put over there. And then I've got I still have that homemade bookcase behind me here. That goes over there. And then behind the other side of the computer here is a nice bookcase that I keep now DVDs. It was made actually not for books, but for VHS tapes. And they still work for DVDs. And then behind that, I've got some more plastic tubs containing, in a row, containing DVDs, box sets of TV shows and so forth. And then behind that, there's a wall. And then it comes right around here to the wall this way, and right over here is the window with the windowsill and the teleprompter. So that's what you are not seeing right now. It's not in the screen. However, once I get this green screen, which is I think cheaper than the one I was considering, which just cover like shoulder to shoulder. Now that I'm seeing this, I'm sitting here, the chair's here, the green that I was talking about would cover this. So I'm glad that I got a green, I think it's 4 feet by 6 feet or something. It would probably cover a lot more area anyway. So I plan to change the background digitally to whatever is convenient. Like, for example, going back to female impersonation, I can have what would look like a woman's bedroom here background, and then like when I'm talking right now, I can convert it to more of my, like maybe a Star Trek, if I'm talking about books or DVDs, if I'm talking about Star Trek, for example, I can have something Star Trek related back here during the video, and then in my next video, I don't have to change anything. If I'm talking about outer space, I can have the galaxy or something back here, project, in post-production, digitally inserted as a background over the green screen. So that's nice. Well, I just looked at my footage when you click and drag something out of, I'm using Photo Booth to record this right now with the computer camera. I have a late 2015 iMac, and it comes with Photo Booth, and that's what I use to film. And I wondered if I should get a better film camera. I mean, how do these videos look? What's preventing people from watching for my videos for longer periods of time? Part of it, I guess, is my ums and ahs and delays. I admit I could do better with, now that I've developed the other features of my channel, I can edit out those ums and ahs and make it sharper and quicker and so forth. But what else could I do to improve the look of the the videos to encourage people to watch longer. Anyway, I was clicking and dragging that video part out and setting up to start recording again, and I look at myself in the camera, or I look at a preview, because when you click on the icon, it instantly starts playing from the beginning of the video, and I could see the back of my head. I do have an unfortunate bald spot, and as long as we're talking about I'm being introspective and I'm revealing things about myself, some more uncomfortable than others, I might as well mention that bald spot. It's really weird because I really need a haircut. Again, I know I've said that before. It's really weird because the rest of me look like, if you looked at me head on, you can see I have, at age 48, I have full hair. It's this bald spot, like right here, and it's really weird. Maybe there's a cure for it. I don't know. Maybe I should wear yarmulkes or kippot more often. I don't know. Anyway, okay, and I'm going to go out on a limb on something else. When I look in the mirror, like my mom would tell me when I was younger, maybe 20, even age 30, something like that. Of course, I haven't shaven for a while, so I do have whiskers, but she would say that I'm very attracted to the opposite sex, and I like hearing that. I mean, it increases my chances, but I haven't gone out on I've gone on one date, but it wasn't really a date. It was, well, I took a walk in the park with a friend from Temple. That's one thing. She was a lot older than I am. Then there was another. No, it was just that one person. I've got two women. One was just a lot older than I am, and it was more of a friendly chat walking. And another one was a similar situation where it was just a friendly chat. She is also older than I am, but she has a different mentality. And again, it seemed like we were just friends talking. And the other date I had was just because I won tickets to a theater play somewhere, and I needed someone else to go. And so a roommate, I went to high school, and there was and this is after I graduated from high school, but probably during college somewhere. It was during college, but I don't remember how I got into this, but I just happened to be talking on the phone with somebody whose roommate was free to go with me to the play or concert or whatever it was, and that wasn't really a date. That was more like a mercy. Need a companion for an outing, really. So aside from those, I haven't really been on a date, and that's just really sad. And I have all these qualities. Here I'm revealing like everything in this one video, but I have all these qualities, like college educated and smart and knowledgeable, and look at all these different things, and there are topics and ideas for topics for these videos, for this channel, that I want to share with all of you, like this Dramatica theory thing. I'm thinking of adding a playlist where I talk about the Dramatica theory. It's a theory about how the mind develops stories and films and story structure, and it's fascinating. I discovered it in 2012, so I figured in this Dramatica playlist part of the channel, I'm going to pick for each video, I'm going to have a certain aspect of the theory, and I'm going to use, this is be the fun part, I'm going to pick a movie or movies and talk about this aspect of the theory in those movies. Like, for example, when the main character changes his personal attitude towards something or resolves an issue or something like that. Talk about how the Dramatica theory deals with that and show examples in a movie or several movies. Or how the story limit could be time-based or space-based. In other words, how do you get to the climax of the story? Is it because there's a certain amount of time that elapses? Like, for example, you have only 48 hours to clear your name, at which point after 48 hours, the climax kicks in, and you better either clear your name or end of story and it ends in failure. Is that time? That's time based. Does it end that way, or is it structured in terms of so many things have to be in place or checked off or dealt with by the time, and then the final one triggers the climax? So that's more space based. There's a whole fascinating theory behind this. So for various reasons, growing up as a child, in elementary school, there were girls and there were boys, and I was a boy, and I played with other boys, and I tended towards, even within that group, it was rare to connect with the other boys because I was very thoughtful and I was very deep, and I wasn't the very emotional type, but I was very thoughtful, and sometimes there would be like one kid in the class that I would connect with. And I remember, I've mentioned this before, I went to 2 elementary schools because I moved. And the earlier elementary school, my best friend, I bonded with this other kid. I guess I shouldn't mention his name in particular, but we were primarily interested in Transformers, and we wouldn't just play Transformers. We would talk about it, speculate, and just discuss. And not only Transformers, but we were also interested in Star Wars. And then he grows up. Now, fortunately, he didn't change all that much. And he didn't turn his back on the way he was. He's now working for a major private company that contracts with government and the Defense Department. I'll just leave it at that. So that's a very high-paying, good job with good pay, I presume good pay, and it's something you can be proud of. And that's the kind of caliber this kid was, and this guy is now. So then I move, and then I bond with another kid who becomes my best friend in this new elementary school, and all the way up to high school. Then we kind of went our separate ways after high school, strangely. Just almost immediately. It's weird how that happens. But he and I would chat for long periods over the phone. Okay, so back in elementary school, I gravitated towards those kinds of boys. And then the girls, in elementary school, the girls, I feel comfortable in editing out. If I say something that later on I feel icky about, or I shouldn't have said, I can easily edit it out. But bear with me. The girls looked delicate for the most part. And then in middle school, that delicate look seemed more attractive. And the other boys in elementary school were, I guess, just mocking or tended to tease me, or I felt left out, that I couldn't really fit in. And then in middle school, became a little harsher, and then especially in high school, I just didn't feel like I fit in with. I didn't feel like they would let me in, and I didn't feel like. I guess the best way of putting it is that I didn't feel like any of these groups. You have the cliques or whatever. I don't know if they really exist. It's just that there was a clique of everybody else, and there was me, and I felt at the time that privately, I had my screenwriting interests. I had my various passions, screenwriting and watching TV and chatting with this friend in school, chatting outside of school. And I would do artwork and I would talk with my mom and I would read about UFOs and ghosts and the unknown and the unexplained. And again, I had my favorite TV shows and I had interest in film and I was developing this presumed future career in creating television series. So I thought I want to say I thought I was above them, the other kids in the class, but it was more like I had all these interests and ambitions and passions, and I was really moving towards that, and it didn't jibe with anything that I knew that the other kids were interested in. So there was a language barrier or culture barrier. I just didn't see any way that I could fit in with any of the other kids. So where was I going with this? So anyway, dating and so forth, I just fell out of it. Yeah, so I stopped that point in the video, and here's my next segment in the sequence in the whole video, and I was just doing that, and I was thinking, it's rare, how, I don't know, I guess if you're my age or maybe a little bit younger, even especially older than I am, we have an ability now with YouTube and social media extraordinary that we didn't have when I was a kid. Imagine being able to communicate that over vast distances, and when I say vast distances, I mean communicate to a wide variety of people, wide demographics instantly. I could just post this without even editing anything. I could just upload this to YouTube, and there'd still be tumbleweed blowing around, but somebody else in the world could feasibly watch it. We didn't have that when I was growing up. No, I'm seriously, until about 2007 or until 1990s, what I would consider the beginnings of the internet. It was even then it was very rare or very limited. It was very restricted in how we can communicate with the world. And so I just took a moment and I'm conscious of my vast power and the vast power that you have if you're also a YouTuber, or at least can be able to film stuff and put it on YouTube, or even on Facebook or social media in general, to be able to communicate your ideas. And that ties in with my interest when I was a child, even in elementary school, and then especially so in middle school onward through high school and college, to want to go into television writing and creating television series. There's another series of videos that I wanted to do, I plan to do. I just have a lot of ideas and it just takes time to set all this stuff up, but I indeed want to do this. In addition to that Dramatica playlist I told you about, like you're sitting right, as if you're sitting right here, like I told you about. Now I'm going to tell you about a playlist of pitches for TV series that I have had. I came up with about, at first like 12 and then like 22 different ideas for not just story, like episodes of stuff, but entire TV series. And for many of them, I came up with the Bible, which would be a description of the character, the major characters, and the location and the premise, and several episode ideas, and in some cases a summary or a summary / outline of one of the pilot episode for that series. I want to share my ideas. I'm very philosophical, and I want to. Then I got into, well, about that point, like in middle school and then into high school, I was writing speculative scripts. I said speculative slowly because I almost said spec scripts, but you wouldn't understand what I meant by spec scripts necessarily. It's short for speculative scripts. these are scripts that you write as a calling card and you show around. Hey, this is a demonstration of my work. Can I work? Can I be hired on your staff, your writing staff, to write episodes on your TV series? Hypothetically, like a Night Court writing staff or a Star Trek writing staff, something like that. And that was my dream job. My other dream job, of course, my ultimate dream job at the time, was being continuity editor for Star Trek. Not just for there's continuity in editing in terms of making sure that the costumes are correct and so forth. I don't mean that. I mean continuity. It's almost like I was creating a separate job. I wanted a job in Star Trek, making sure that the references given in past episodes are consistent with the references given in this episode, and that if Kirk mentions he was born in Iowa, by golly, in another episode, I'll remember that it was mentioned he was born in Iowa, and so if he mentions he was born in Nevada, I'll say, and write a note and say, nope, in this episode it established he was born in Iowa, stuff like that. And imagine being paid to be able to do that, have a nice job working in Los Angeles doing that. That would be my ultimate dream job. And then a notch below that would be a writing, or maybe on par with that, would have been being on a writing staff for a show. And then right around that point, above just being on a writing staff, would be working your way up to showrunner, the title showrunner, or executive producer. An executive producer is somebody who executes the production of a television series, and a showrunner is almost synonymous with that. It tends to be linked with being the show creator. And I'll be really frank, I'll be open. I don't think many kids in class, and I sound like a broken record when I say this, but because I've said this a number of times over the decades at this point, because it's 30-year anniversary, 30-year high school reunion coming up next year. I sound like a broken record, but these are the jobs. I don't know if the people in the class knew that about me. So I hope that they do now, and I hope that they watch these YouTube videos. It shows that I have 38 subscribers to this YouTube channel. I can only see maybe about 12 of them. So there's that's less than half of the 38 subscribers actually know who they are. So I don't know if I know one person went to our class, is part of our class, but, and I guess I'm hoping, sometimes I really hope that, in one person in particular, I hope that this other person watches so that this person can understand me better and know where I'm coming from. And the more I talk about different topics, the more that this other person will understand that I'm being genuine and honest, and it all fits together. But anyway, I hope that person watches these videos. I don't know whether those other classmates even knew that about me. If they're watching these videos now, if they're watching this channel, thank goodness, maybe they will understand me better and know that I'm more of a person, like how I don't want to come across as egotistical or narcissist or anything like that, but know that, and I think this is healthy of everybody, know that I have a whole lot within me that they probably didn't know about, and maybe they were curious. I just didn't let them in. I didn't show that in school because, frankly, as I said before, I didn't really talk. I wasn't social in school very much. I was friendly, but I just didn't go with any popular cliques. And from what I found out later, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. There were some activities that they did that I just didn't, and gossiping, and I wasn't a gossiper. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't gossip about other people. There were things that they seemed to do or were into or involved with that weren't very smart, and I just saw right through it, and I didn't even waste my time. So I didn't do them. So I didn't. There weren't many um, social. I didn't really socialize very much there. Again, it's not that I wasn't friendly, uh, and over time, it's conditional. I mean, it's just it becomes conditioned into the system, becomes systemized or institutionalized. Institutionalized is a good word. Where, but institutionalized in the sense that it's structured, and it's like they will think they won't think of me as worthy of their time if I don't fit in. That's the best way of putting it. At least that's how I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've evolved. I imagine they've matured. And when I think back, I think that they've done some stupid stuff at that time, or they didn't think things through, or there was a lot of peer pressure probably at that time that I just steered clear of, and I was smarter than that, and I just didn't get involved in that stuff. And I'm guessing that they are aware of that and maybe embarrassed or ashamed or whatever, or they've matured beyond it for whatever reason. So this reunion, I'm imagining will be happy. I'm happy and I want to go to this reunion. I just also imagine that when I'll walk in, I'll see that they have nice lives. They're married, they have kids, they have good jobs. I mean, when I say good jobs, I mean not just better pay, but I mean there's like a janitor job. There's a local part-time job, and then there's a job like I'm a supervisor. There's like a janitor job. There's a Walmart job. There's a part-time like a small agency, being paid low wages or working in a supermarket or something. And then there's a job that I imagine they're in, which would be something like an Air Force, an aerospace contractor, or a self-employed somebody who bakes cakes and runs her own bakery, or a fitness shop, something. And it just seems like they're further along. It just seems to have status and a sense of identity. And when I was growing up, looking ahead, I imagine myself now as being in what was depicted in the sitcoms that I grew up with, the family sitcoms, primarily the Dick Van Dyke Show. It was based in New York City. It was a great sitcom, by the way, wonderful sitcom, 1961, something like that, all the way to 1966. It ran for 5 years. It's garnered great reviews from critics. It's great comedic writing, original writing. It wasn't cookie cutter. It didn't copycat other sitcom problems. It seemed very realistic. You had Rob Petrie, who was a television series writer. He wrote for a fictional TV series. It was something like Saturday Night Live, something like that, or more like Sid Caesar, Your Show of Shows, which is, I think, what the fictional series is based on. This is very autobiographical to the creator. Carl Reiner had written for Your Show of Shows, and then he creates the Dick Van Dyke Show as like an autobiography of his life. It's based on his life. So Rob Petrie has a nice wife. They have a little kid who's not cutesy. I mean, he's just a rambunctious kid running around. He has best friends, and he likes to play with toys and so forth. And then Rob Petrie goes to work. Of course, the housewife stays home. But I mean, even then, Laura Petrie didn't wear just dresses all day and vacuumed. I mean, she wore pants, sometimes skirts, but like regular clothing, comfortable clothing. And she had a best friend, Millie, next door. And she had friends she would go around. She had activities too. And Rob Petrie would go into work and would show his two writing partners, and they would write scripts for the Alan Brady Show, which was a fictional show. Alan Brady was a star, and it was a variety show where It was more probably akin to the Carol Burnett show, if you've seen that. Forget Saturday Night Live. It's if you remember the Carol Burnett show, it's much more like that. It's practically a mirror of that. And that's what I saw. And he drove a car, and he had different financial problems and social things, just normal life. And they were in a suburban area, New Rochelle. I've never been to New Rochelle, but it's in part of New York, greater New York City. And my mom my mom grew up in New York City. And that's what I saw as normal life. And might as well go on further about this. There was a show, Bewitched. Samantha Stevens and Darren Stevens. They lived in Connecticut, and then he would commute to New York. And he worked in an advertising firm, and good job, and married to a beautiful wife who also was a witch. And they kept that pride. It's interesting, the philosophy. That's another reason why I wanted to write television, create television, because especially in the 1960s, even into the 1980s, but especially in the 1960s, there was not only good plotting in terms of the writing, not only were the episodes plotted well and really developed through, but there's a philosophy, there was an undercurrent, philosophical undercurrent behind these shows, especially shows like Bewitched. Here was a mortal. It takes place in a mortal world. Here is a witch who leaves her, she still stays in contact with her witch family, like her mother and father and so forth, but she marries a mortal, which is a mixed marriage. It's at that point, it's sort of like an interracial marriage, and that's one aspect. Imagine this in the 1960s, and the idea of an interracial marriage, or a marriage of two very different people, two very different cultures, and she wants to act like a normal mortal wife and woman, and she has these powers, and she has to keep them secret. It's sort of like Superman and Clark Kent, or Clark Kent slash Kal-El. He has these powers, but he has to keep them secret. And many times we feel, or at least I feel, I can see moments when I have these powers, or abilities, whatever, that are extraordinary, literally extraordinary. But I have to be careful and cautious when I use them. So there's a lot of philosophy. And then you can go to I Dream of Jeannie, and this whole thing about the genie being kept in the bottle. And there are a number, just in general, there are philosophical undercurrents underneath these shows. And that's what made them so rich, these TV show concepts so rich. The ones that have survived, anyway. So that's why I wanted to go into television writing. So that's how I saw myself. That's how I saw my future. By now, I would have a witch wife, and I would drive a car that's possessed by the spirit of my dead mother. No. And I'd talk with aliens. No. But I mean, I would be married to a nice woman, beautiful woman, and I'd have a nice house in the suburbs, and I would have a child, and so forth. And so a nice job, writing for television, and working my way. I was very ambitious, working my way up to creating my own TV series, like Get Smart and Star Trek and Bewitched and so forth. I was smart, I was creative, I was imaginative, and I think my idea, at the time I thought, I still do, but at the time, I thought my ideas would really sell well and be popular, because I think I know what people gravitate towards in terms of just exciting television. And then in college, I moved on to writing screenplays, and so that's where I saw myself. And then reality hit and so forth. But it's sort of depressing or dismaying that I would go in, and I don't know if I don't have these credentials to show, but I do have this YouTube channel, and I want to create a YouTube. I want to create a playlist in this YouTube channel where I make pitches about those TV series I have in mind. Just if nothing else, if they don't become fruitful, if they don't materialize into anything, at least people can refer back to these videos and see what I had in mind. And with these editing skills that I'm developing with this channel, I can be able to like portray them maybe with animation or stock footage or something. I can kind of try and recreate, try and materialize as best as possible what my vision was for this and is. And then there's that, I mentioned Madonna before, and I wanted to talk, I thought about talking about kinship, like different topics to talk about on this channel. And I thought about how we have families. We think of kinship, I think usually in terms of our cousins and parents and so forth, but not having had exposure to my relatives. I just had exposure, I lived with my mom, and my dad visited like 5 times in my life, if that. And I had brief contact before now. Now I've had a little bit more contact with my cousin and his wife, and their son, and a little bit of daughter, and the other side of my family. You know, like they're 2 different strands, like second cousin, first cousin. So, but I feel like this YouTube channel may be all that I have. I'm afraid, but I'll keep fighting. I'll keep trying to make something more and just keep building on what I have from this YouTube channel into something more. And to be frank, to be honest, I'm using this also as a pitch. I'll get back to the pitch idea. I want to pitch my movie ideas. I've written, as I said before, some screenplays. I wrote 2 parodies of James Bond, and maybe I'll do something with that. Before that, my first screenplay attempt was with a mermaid, and it was Aquanetta. I can't remember the title. I have all this stuff, at least the stuff that doesn't involve characters from IPs, like intellectual properties. In other words, I don't include my Star Trek scripts or Get Smart stuff or anything that is related to anything that somebody else has a property rights to. But I found quite a bulk of my own writing, and I put it up as a book for sale on KDP. And I'm trying to get my store set up as a link on this YouTube channel so that you can go buy the book. I've got several texts available on KDP, and it's been a while since I've even looked at that. It's related to Kindle. I think it's something like Kindle Desktop Publishing or something like that, some variation of that. I've got a short story. I've got at least 2 short stories. I've got the bulk, as I said, the bulk of my writing over the years since childhood, creative writing, together in one bundle. It's a large book. They're all available as Kindle downloads for cheap prices. And I've got some screenplays available there. And my Madonna thing, I'll get to that in a moment. But let me get to my Cerberus screenplay. My Cerberus screenplay is about a chase amongst different factions to get to a downed spacecraft in the Pacific Ocean as soon as possible. They're all chasing against each other. And I thought, and then there's the Madonna screenplay, and I'll elaborate on that. I've talked about that previously in this channel, but I enjoy talking about it. But there's a main point why I bring it up now. Anyway, the Cerberus screenplay, these other screenplays, I can perhaps make pitch videos following a format of how you effectively do a pitch. So it would be not only informative about what I've written, but it would be informative in terms of how to do a good pitch. And I'm hoping in the back of my mind close to the front of my mind. I'm thinking maybe somebody will catch on to this. Maybe somebody with the power to be able to take my stuff to the next level will see it, and hopefully I'll have my hair cut and I'll look better. I'll make sure to look better. I'll make sure I'll look presentable, as if I'm literally actually pitching to an executive at a studio somewhere. So again, so it's informative for you to see how a pitch is done. Of course, there are variations. It depends on the circumstance, but usually what goes into a pitch. And again, Madonna. I've devoted so much time and thought behind this Madonna screenplay project, and if she watches, if somebody knows, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm pleading, or I don't want to turn like into a lol cow, like look up LOL cow. I don't want to come across as like a laughing stock or desperate or whatever, but simply, if Madonna happens to see my video talking about this thing I created, I tried to create as a tribute, to try and like speak, because I admire her, and I think she's very creative and smart, and as an artist and all around, it has interesting ideas, or somebody knows her, just to share. This is what I had in mind, and I was hoping that I could be able to take this to the point where it's all complete, and if you like it, you could become involved and finance or at least endorse this and become a movie. That was my plan at the end of college. Around 1998, I wrote a screenplay, and then I further developed it and sent it off to Creative Artists Agency, and got a rejection letter back. Basically, they weren't interested. That's all it said. I still have the letter. I kept working on it. I guess I know now. I positively am absolutely sure that I know more about filmmaking and film writing than I did then. So that's a benefit. But I just wish that before it's not like she's going to croak or kick the bucket. Right? I'm revealing all this now. I'm opening my heart. I'm opening my soul right now for all of you. But I wanted to get this off my chest. And I've talked about it before, but I really haven't opened up like this until now. It's not like she's going to croak or kick the bucket, but she is up there in age. She was born in 1958, so like as every year goes by, just about, there's at least one moment probably when I think that what if like tomorrow like Marilyn Monroe or something. What if? By the way, that reference that I just made is a callback to a movie called Calendar Girl, which was one of the inspirations for this Madonna movie project. The main character has this date, just happened to date with somebody he and two other people go to try and meet Marilyn Monroe, and there are all these hijinks and so forth. And at the end of the story, all these run-ins and so forth. At the end, the movie just calms down, and she calls, and they decide that he's the most worthy person to go on this date with Marilyn, just because she was bored or she felt lonely or she just wanted to talk to somebody. So it was a very nice moment. Sort of tearing my jaws, like you feel like this tearing up is about to happen. He just goes on this date, and it's not even that long a scene. It's just shots. It's like a montage of the two walking, and you hear a narration of him recalling what they talked about and friendship. Like he says that she says at one point, it's nice that he has good friends because she never had a friend. It's that kind of thing that partly inspired this Madonna movie project. Here I'm getting into the pitch right now, but what I had in mind was that here the three of them wanted to meet this gorgeous sex bomb, Marilyn Monroe, and then there are these hijinks, and then at the end of the story, one of them goes on a date with her, and just not even, technically a date, but it's just that the two meet and they just walk and they just talk with each other, and she reveals a lot about her personal things that she just shares with him as a person, and she doesn't know him very well, and that was truly the genesis of the story. And it's a 1993 movie, and I saw it in probably 1994 or 95, something like that. And I'm sure that's the true genesis of the story. And in college, I saw some sort of kinship, some kind of artistic kinship with Madonna, in the sense that she was very dynamic, and she was able to achieve this huge position in her artistic career where she could express ideas, and there were thoughts that she was sharing in interviews, and people thought of her as just the sex bomb, or just, I mean, she exhibited sex intentionally. She was exhibiting sex, which helped her career. But I mean, behind that, she's very thoughtful, and she seemed deep, and she talked. She was very philosophical. So that appealed to me. That too is attractive to me. So I figured it's approaching the end of my college career, and I mean college years, and so I write this hoping that maybe that would be a calling card she would say, all I really wanted to, I don't want to say all I really wanted, but one primary thing was I wanted to show this to her, or get her attention, and hear from her, or her reach out to me and say, congratulations, I really like your work, I think you're a good writer, and I enjoy this, and I see substance in it, and it looks like you put a lot of time and effort into it. That's what I wanted from it. I wanted her to acknowledge me as an artist, and I wanted some chance to tell her that she partly inspired me in different ways. I mean, a lot of people inspired. I mean, so did Steven Spielberg. It's another person. I guess her male counterpart in my mind would be Steven Spielberg. And these are things I'd want to tell Steven Spielberg that he very much inspired, along with Jim Henson, so forth, but primarily Steven Spielberg. He very much inspired. But so I guess with her, it wasn't so much a lifelong inspiration, but it was just those years especially. She inspired me creatively, and she was somebody that did things in a certain way that I aspired towards. Like, it was sort of like a role model kind of situation. Like, for those years especially, she was doing. I thought about her because they were. I think she reached her 40th year in life, and Kabbalah, and she was in the news and so forth, and just reminded me of all her, incredible body of work, and blah 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 blah. Well, so in the movie Calendar Girl, 1993 movie, he has this date with Marilyn Monroe, impromptu, and then he wakes up the next morning and the radio announces that Marilyn Monroe was found dead, nude, but dead. And so it's like every year, I'm sure at least at one point, I think of her, of hearing Madonna Ciccone has died at age whatever. She's getting up there in age. So it feels sort of like a race against time, and I feel a lot of dismay. So if she ever, I feel like she's never gonna never know who I am, and it parallels the actual story that I had in mind, where she meets this nobody who, and she wouldn't know who he was. I mean, he's a nobody. He's just somebody off the street, and then he thinks of her in certain ways based on media, and he doesn't know what she's really like, and it goes in different ways. And I mean, there was a period of time when this, maybe, in fact, I don't want to, I'm reluctant to call it an infatuation. This, like, mental bonding that I felt with her. This, that's not even the best word. This mental attraction that I felt towards her was strong, especially during college, and then it lasted past college for a while, and then I realized, I don't want to say realize, I knew it, but I just made more of a conscious effort to just divorce myself from it, because it wouldn't come to anything. However, all along, I was using my script project to develop my writing skills better, and I thought that she would be pleased that all along I would think, I feel proud that I thought she would recognize that I'm not just using it to, I'm not just a stupid fan that's obsessed with her. That's not the case. I wanted to get her attention, yes, but I was using this script project constructively to mature and develop my skills and become better, and I was approaching it in a mature way. Well, wow, I only expected to be talking for a little while, and here I am revealing all this stuff. So what have I learned? I've learned that I seriously need a haircut, and two, I have quite a lot to say. I'm glad I said it. I want to move now to the point of the video I wanted to do, I thought about all along. It's The Devil and Max Devlin, and a particular song, Roses and Rainbows, sung by Julie Budd. I did a YouTube short. By the way, I've been posting on a daily basis. I've been posting 1-minute YouTube shorts. They're daily thoughts for the day, or good lines, or food for thought. And so I posted one yesterday about the song Roses and Rainbows, but it really deserves being talked about more and elaborated upon. All right, so the song, I saw this movie somewhere in elementary school, like 4th, 5th, or 6th grade. Probably not, well, 4th, 5th, or 6th grade, so that really narrows it down. And at that time, usually at the end of the school year, they would have everybody meet in the cafeteria, and they'd have TV sets set up, and we'd watch a movie. It's like the last day of school or something like that, and they just show it. And I remember one time, I know they showed Freaky Friday. That would have been like my 4th grade year, and they had The Last Flight of Noah's Ark, also with Elliot Gould. And they had this one, which is The Devil and Max Devlin, starring Elliot Gould. But I've seen Disney movies before, and they're sort of lightweight fare, even though in the 70s, Escape to Witch Mountain, I'm pretty sure was another one. Good movie, Escape to Witch Mountain, based on a book. I know I don't still have the book, one of those house moves. Those movies still have substance. They're very different. Those live-action Disney movies are very different from the ones now put out by Disney. And they may have been thought of as lightweight fare then, or have a certain like family friendly quality then, but even those movies have very dramatic substance and are very fun, entertaining stories. All right, so what's the devil in? Okay, so the Devil in Max Devlin. There's a song in there that I think portrays in song, as a song portrays the whole point of the movie. What's the movie about? The Devil in Max Devlin. Elliot Gould plays somebody who's a property owner. He rents out places, and he's not a great property owner. Their opening scene has tenants coming in and shouting at him and saying it's unfair and you never fixed this like you said you would, and I'm paying rent and blah blah blah. And he just escapes them, and he gets into an accident. I think he gets hit by a bus or something, and full of cultists. But anyway, he gets hit by a bus. He finds himself falling through this tunnel, and he's in a fiery place. I'll just leave it up to your imagination where he is. He's in a fiery, dark place, and he hears this booming voice, and he knows, he can guess pretty much where he is. And the chairman of the board tells him, I think he tells him that they're very eager to get his soul. However, he wants to go back. So at this point, Bill Cosby comes in. Bill Cosby, by the way, is a great comedic actor on television. His movies have been rocky. I don't know whether that's him acting or just the role. I think it's just the roles he picked, or both. I think it's basically the movies he was in, just rocky, uneven. But anyway, I think he plays a good part in this movie. He plays an associate or somebody within this group headed by the chairman of the board, and there's a condition. They will let him live for, I think it's a month or something, for a period of time during which he has to contact 3 people, and he's shown this image of the 3 people. There's a young woman, say like 20 something, and maybe even 18 or whatever. There's a young child about 10, a boy about 10, and there's some surfer dude or some young guy, like in college, or college age, I mean. And he has to get their souls. If he can get their souls on paper, like to sign in this contract, sign their souls away, the chairman of the board, this group will get their souls at the ends of their natural lives. Keep that in mind, natural lives. And I don't worry, I won't reveal I'll reveal the ending, but I'll put up a spoiler warning. I'll make a visual gesture to myself to edit in a screen that says spoiler alert. So I encourage you to watch this movie. So he wakes up after the accident, and he thinks at first, oh, it was a weird dream. And then Bill Cosby shows up and shows how he can, with his mind, he can just teleport to any place he wishes just by thinking about that place or thinking about that person. And so he goes to this young woman who turns out to be an aspiring singer, and she has one friend who's a groupie, but just the one friend, and nobody's listening to her sing. And then when this is a key moment, when he's around, she just lights up, and she sings well. And then she may be even singing, I don't remember what song she sings. She may even be singing the key song Roses and Rainbows at that point, or maybe later. I think it's later on. Then he meets with the 2 other people. The kid turns out to not have a father anymore. He's living with his mother, and then that's a third person he sees, and the second person is this college age kid who I think he wants to be a bike racer, a dirt bike racer, and when he shows up and meets with the dirt bike racer feels he has more confidence, and I believe he actually wins the dirt bike race, and he becomes a new champion, and he gains his fame, and then he this intentionally happens to meet this boy, and then the boy, this is a sign of the times, right? The boy invites him home to meet his mom. Oh, and then there's a moment when to meet their mom, and then there's a point where he is invited to, because the mom, I think, runs a daycare center, and there are kids playing, and he just expresses, with this smug look on his, not smug, but like kind of smarmy look on his face, he's putting on an act that he's very friendly and nice. And he gets a job, or task anyway, of being a supervisor and older parent to these kids playing in the daycare center. I mean, you wouldn't catch that now. I mean, even then, even the way it's depicted in the movie, it seems a little creepy that you would just let some adult off the streets, just some stranger, just oversee these kids in a daycare center. Anyway, so over time, he gets to share personal time with each one of them. And so Bill Cosby appears and says, gee, the boss, the people, the guy upstairs, they're getting a little antsy. They want these contracts signed, and so he gets them signed. He tricks them into signing contracts. Whoops. It turns out they lied. They're not going to get the souls at the ends of their natural lives. These the chairman of the board and his entourage, his staff, will get them immediately at midnight on some certain date. And if the staff doesn't get their souls, then his soul will go back to where, that tunnel, that dark place with the chairman of the board and the fiery pits and everything. So spoiler alert. So in the meantime, they become famous, and there's this song, the aspiring singer becomes famous, sells a lot of records, a huge star, and she still shows some sense of independence. And I'll leave it up to you, really, independence in terms of this guy, the main character, coming and saying, I want to be your manager, and I can't remember, it's been a long time since I've seen it, something about the details, but she shows some sense of her own self and maturity, and I can do this she shows some sense of maturity. I'm not sure if it's independence necessarily, I don't remember, but some sign of maturity. And blah blah blah. Here's the spoiler alert. Okay, so it's in the climax. He's fallen in love with the mother of this child, and he wants to marry. So therefore, the kid gets a father, and he finally gets a loving wife. He's been a bachelor all of his life, and when you see him in the beginning what he's like, it's no wonder that he hasn't been he's not married at that point. And so he really wants to be a part of it. It's a nice family home, and a wife and a child and a nice area and a nice neighborhood. And he has become the manager to this aspiring singer who's now famous due to supernatural abilities. Um, and I don't remember about the dirt bike racer. I think he kind of goes off the side. He's not really, he has his own life path thanks to his new fame. And this ability seems to occur only when he's present. If he's away, then their ability to do this thing well goes away. And that's a key point in the song Roses and Rainbows. Like, for example, when I was talking earlier about her singing, when he's nearby, she sings beautifully. But if he's away, if he leaves, then she can't sing well. And I don't remember the thing with the boy, how that works, but I remember the college-age kid, the dirt bike racer. If he's not there, he's not a good dirt bike racer. He might even get killed or seriously injured in an accident. But when he's there, he races beautifully. So, in the climax, he figures it's better that he leave and sacrifice his own soul and go to the chairman of the board and dwell in that fiery pit than let the souls of these nice, pure, good people go in his stead. So he says he tells the bike racer he's going to leave forever. Good luck, and you won't see me again. And then he tells the singer the same thing. And he's very sullen, and he tells the boy, look, I have to leave. And then the mother comes in and says, oh, why are you leaving? We just got married, and were you just running off now? And it's just like the boy says the earlier father did. He just left. And so he's about to leave, and it's getting towards midnight, and he says, no, I think he talks to a mirror or something like that. I don't know. He just shouts out, listen, you, I'm standing right here. I am not leaving. And this is a key point in the Disney movie, because I would think anyway, if it were told in a less competent way in a Disney movie, sort of a Disney fare, if it's in a Disney movie that's very preachy, you would think that it's a story simply about defeating the devil and so forth. But the way it's told, it's like it's more than. By the way, Elliot, I don't know who else is involved, but it's nice that Elliot Gould is a Jewish actor, and I think this plays towards more of a Jewish concept of the subject matter and philosophy than it does Christian, superficial. You've got the devil and so forth, which is very Christian view of things. But it's funny that I don't know who was involved behind the scenes, who wrote this, but Ellie Gould is a Jewish actor, so I'm pleased that that kind of jives with this. But in a lesser version, a more preachy version, it could have been told as though he's just defying the devil and he won his soul back and da 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 da. But it's more than that. He says, no. I know I'm a decent person, and I'm not like that. And I know inherently in my heart I'm a good, decent person. So he basically shouts that out, and it strikes midnight, and then beyond midnight, he's still alive. He can still see himself, his reflection in the mirror. And so he goes with the son and the wife, and they head out. And then at some point, maybe it's the next scene, you see the singer, and she's standing about to give this farewell performance. And she has to go back, and because she left her family, she essentially ran away from home because they were very strict. And she's going back. to, I don't know, whether reconcile with them or whatever. She realizes that she needs that sense of family. So she's going back, and this is her farewell performance. And so she says she wants to thank somebody in particular who, if it weren't for him, she wouldn't be here right now. And so she sings the song, and I will look up the I'll in the next cut, of course, it'll be seamless edit here, but I want to read the lyrics. I'm not that good of a singer. I'll sing a little, I'll sing it through, but it doesn't really do it justice. I'll put a link in to watch that clip on YouTube of her singing that song, Roses and Rainbows. She sings it, and it's clear, even there, it's clear it's not necessarily God versus the devil. It's more like, if you hear her lyric, and she's also Jewish, the actress is Jewish. If you hear her lyrics, it's more about self-confidence and believe in yourself, and don't go after things that don't follow other people when they say, oh, I can give you everything and it's going to be all beautiful all the time. She's saying in the song, realize that if you realize that there will be dark clouds, or it can't be all beautiful. Be realistic, recognize that there are things that are not so great, and if you see life as having moments that are not so great, or aspects that are not so great, then you won't fall prey to following every single person who comes up, or the next person who comes up who promises that everything's going to be roses and rainbows. And that's the title of the song. And at the end, this is my favorite part, at the end she says, my life belongs to me. And then it cuts to my life belongs to me, meaning I am my own person, and I have independence, and I have a strength. It's not that I'm defying anybody, but like I can lead my own life, and I don't have to depend on the next person, like a little child just giving me sweets and hoping that other person has sweets. I can cook myself. I can make things for myself, and I recognize that not everything is beautiful, but there are a lot of things that are beautiful. So it then cuts to a close-up shot of Elliot Gould's character, and he looks up, and you don't even hear his words, but he whispers, "Thank you," up to the sky. Of course, it's implied who he's singing towards, but he says, "Thank you," and that's it. So let me read now the lyrics to the song. Okay, I'll try to sing this as best I can. I'm avoiding copyright problems. So here I am, alone again, not at all like I thought I would be. Guess I lost my way. Seems like yesterday. Somebody promised excuse me. Somebody promised me the sunshine. Somebody promised me the moon. Somebody told me there'd be roses and rainbows. I only hope they'll get here soon. Seems like I've been waiting here forever, thinking that love wouldn't come for free. Someone's still waiting for those roses and rainbows. I hope that someone won't be me. So let go now, you're on your own. It's okay to be lonely now and then. Open up your eyes. You are much too wise. If someone promises you sunshine, you better know there'll still be rain. If someone says they'll bring you, if someone says he'll bring you roses and rainbows, you'd better take a look again. You'd better find out who you are, girl, before you run to someone else. Instead of waiting for those roses and rainbows, you'd better give them to yourself. Somebody promised me the sunshine. Somebody promised me the moon. Somebody told me there'd be roses and rainbows. And now I know they're coming soon. And now I'm ready for the sunshine. And I'm as happy as can be. And all my days are filled with roses and rainbows. My life belongs to me. My life belongs to me.